A warm welcome to you here on News Hour, this hour on TV Sapiencia News. The top stories. A former Senate President, Senator Adolphus Wabara, has expressed disappointment over the simultaneous foreign trips embarked upon by President Bola Tinubu and his Vice President Kashim Shettima, describing it as the height of executive rascality. U.S. envoy to the Middle East, Morgan Ortagus, yesterday Sunday called for the immediate disarmament of Hezbollah and other armed groups, emphasizing that Lebanese security forces should take the lead in the effort. And in sports, Lionel Messi was on target, but an out-of-sorts Inter Miami were held to a 1-1 draw by the strugglers Toronto FC in Major League Soccer yesterday, Sunday. My name is Chioma Vicchukwemeka. Welcome to the news. Now the news in full. A former Senate President, Senator Adolphus Wabara, has expressed disappointment over the simultaneous foreign trips embarked upon by the President Bola Tinubu and his Vice President Kashim Shettima, describing it as the height of executive rascality. Wabara commented yesterday Sunday while reacting to Tinubu's trip to France for a 2-week working visit and Shettima's trip to Dakar, Senegal, to represent the president during the country's 65th Independence Day anniversary celebrations on April 4. The former Senate President faulted Tinubu and Shettima for leaving Nigeria headless. He described the scenario as a serious dereliction of duty and display of utter disregard for the people of Nigeria. Away from that story, the United Nations has warned that recent cuts in global health aid could reverse decades of progress in reducing maternal deaths, even as a new report shows fewer women are dying during pregnancy and childbirth than in the early 2000s. In a report released to mark World Health Day on Sunday, the UN revealed that maternal deaths dropped by 40% globally between 2000 and 2023, thanks to improved access to essential health services. However, progress has slowed sharply since 2016, and an estimated 260,000 women still died from pregnancy-related causes in 2023, about 1 every 2 minutes. The report, Trends in Maternal Mortality, was jointly published by the World Health Organization, UNICEF, UNFPA, and the World Bank. It raised alarm over severe funding cuts that are already forcing some countries to scale back services for pregnant women, newborns, and children. The Take It Back protest took a turn when officers of the River State Command opened tear gas on the protesters in a bid to disperse them. Organizers and supporters of the Take It Back movement, civil society organizations, and Niger Delta Congress had gathered at Isaac Borough Park in Port Harcourt, only to be met with resistance from operatives of the River State Police Command. The policemen, however, asked them to leave for another venue. Still undeterred, the protesters began singing solidarity songs and started marching inside the park and proceeded outside towards the popular Wabara Express Road. When the protesters reached the CFC junction, the armed anti-riot policemen intercepted them again and ordered them to vacate the street, an order which they defied again. Immediately, the policemen fired tear gas canisters, which sent the various groups protesting, scattering and scampering for safety. Now we move to Abia State, where the state governor, Alex Otti, has directed security agencies in the state to hunt down and bring to justice the gunmen who killed 2 Chinese miners and a police officer in Uturu, Isukwato local government area of the state. The victims were ambushed on Friday while en route to a mining site in the Aguhu Amaya Ndondo community. Governor Otti, in a statement issued on Sunday by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ferdinand Ekoma, condemned the attack. He said that beyond creating the enabling environment for businesses and other economic activities to thrive, his government has ensured that lives and properties are protected through the provision of the necessary support to security agencies in the state. The governor also promised to intensify security cooperation with states that share boundaries with Abia to build a formidable security architecture that would ensure that criminals don't stray into Abia from such states for the purpose of committing crimes in Abia's soil, as was the case of this situation. The death toll recorded from cerebrospinal meningitis has increased to 156, up from previous 74 deaths, according to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The data, which highlighted details from week 40 of 2024 to week 12 of 2025, also showed that the confirmed cases are 126 out of the 1,858 suspected cases across 23 states and 121 local government areas. The agency also said the case fatality rate is at 8.4%. The 23 states are reporting suspected CSM cases are Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Ebonyi, Ekiti, FCT, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, Niger, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Plateau, Sokoto, and Yobe State. Meningitis is a serious infection of the meninges, the membranes covering the brain and spinal cord. It's a devastating disease and remains a major public health challenge. The disease can be caused by many different pathogens, including bacteria, fungi, or viruses. But the highest global burden is seen with bacterial meningitis, according to the World Health Organization. The national president of the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, Alhaji Haruna Kankara, on Sunday said about 20 states have yet to implement the 70,000 naira new minimum wage for local government workers and primary school teachers. The states include Yobe, Gombe, Zamfara, Kaduna, Imo, Ebonyi, Cross River, FCT, Abuja, Borno, and 11 others. The Norgay leader disclosed these in response to questions from newsmen on the implementation of the new minimum wage with reference to the local government workers and primary school teachers in the country, following the signing of the Minimum Wage Act 2024 into law. About 20 states commenced the implementation of the new wage law. The states included Lagos, Rivers, Bayelsa, Niger, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, Abia, Adamawa, Anambra, Jigawa, Gombe, Ogun, Kebbi, Ondo, Kogi, and others. President Bola Tinubu signed the 70,000 naira minimum wage bill into law on July 29, 2024, after months of negotiations with labor unions. Operatives of Nigeria Police Force today Monday dispersed protesters with tear gas in the Maitama area of Abuja. The protesters, who had gathered peacefully to express their grievances, were thrown into disarray as a tear gas canister sent many scampering for safety. The protest, which is part of nationwide demonstrations spearheaded by the Take It Back movement and other civil society organizations, began earlier in the day to draw attention to several national issues. Key among the concerns raised by the organizers are the alleged misuse of the Cybercrime Act, the worsening economic hardship in the country, and what they described as a state of emergency in Rivers State. The demonstrators carried placards bearing inscriptions such as "Stop the Repression" and "Let Us Breathe" as they marched through the streets of the Federal Capital Territory. We're following up on the story and we'll keep updating you in our subsequent bulletins. Away from Nigeria, U.S. envoy to the Middle East, Morgan Ortagus, yesterday Sunday called for the immediate disarmament of Hezbollah and other armed groups, emphasizing that Lebanese security forces should take the lead in the effort. Ortagus made the remarks during an interview with Lebanese broadcaster LBCI at the end of our 3-day visit in Beirut. During the visit, she met with President Joseph Aoun, Prime Minister Nawaf Salam, Speaker of Parliament Nabi Berri, and other senior government officials and political leaders. Her trip followed weeks of escalating Israeli airstrikes on Lebanon, targeting Iran-backed Hezbollah fighters and the group's weapons depots. The strikes, including two in Beirut's southern suburbs, were in response to rocket fire from Lebanon into Israeli territory. Now we move to the interesting world of sports, where Lionel Messi was on target, but an out-of-sorts Inter Miami were held to a 1-1 draw by strugglers Toronto FC in Major League Soccer yesterday Sunday. Toronto, winless this season, were full of value for their point and created enough chances to have ever won the game. The Canadian side, 14th in the 15th team in Eastern Conference, caused plenty of problems for Miami's shaky shaky defense and struck the woodwork twice in the early stages of the game. Elsewhere in the MLS on Sunday, former Inter Miami striker Josef Martinez scored a hat-trick as the San Jose Earthquakes hammered DC United 6-1. New York City FC suffered a 2-1 loss at home to much improved Minnesota United, who moved up to third place in the Western Conference with a win. Well, that's it. That's it on the news. A quick reminder of our top stories. We told you that former Senate President Senator Adolphus Wabara has expressed disappointment over the simultaneous foreign trips embarked upon by President Bola Tinubu and his Vice President Kashim Shettima, describing it as a height of executive rascality. U.S. envoy to the Middle East Morgan Ortagus on Sunday called for the immediate disarmament of Hezbollah and other armed groups, emphasizing that Lebanese security forces should take the lead in the effort. And in sports, Lionel Messi was on target, but an out-of-sorts Inter Miami were held to a 1-1 draw by strugglers Toronto FC in Major League Soccer yesterday, Sunday. That's it. Many thanks for joining us on this news hour on TV Sapiencia. My name is Chioma Vic Chukwemeka. Thanks for watching and stay with us.